who is the most famous person in Muar. Name we. I'm now traveling on a bus in Malacca, going down south towards Singapore on a one city, one night journey. My next destination is Muar, which is just 50 kilometers south of Malacca. Muar is located at the northern part of the state of Johor, somewhat in between Kuala Lumpur and Singapore. It is situated 180 kilometers south of Kuala Lumpur and 180 kilometers north of Singapore. Just like Batu Pahat, Muar is also many of my Malaysian schoolmates, colleagues, counterparts and friends coming from. That sparked my interest to see and find out more about their place of birth. I am pretty excited to come to Muar. To be frank, exactly the same feeling hits me when I plan to go to Batu Pahat. Any transport coming from Malacca will inevitably come across the 400-meter wide Muar River where the Sultan Ismail Bridge spans across. I have my eyes glued to the bus window, marveling at the most important Muar River in which this city is named after. The bus terminal is situated just next to the Sultan Ismail Bridge. The bus terminal is pretty smallish. This is so befitting of this old town charm. I'm at Muar bus station now. So the journey takes about slightly less than an hour. I quickly do a quick search of the timing of my outgoing bus tomorrow. After all, I'll be using the same bus stop in the next 18 hours or so later. Now, I'm taking a mental photography of the bus schedule. Okay, I just acquainted myself with all the buses in Muar so that tomorrow I can come on over here and have a seamless journey back home. This is Muarar Hotel 99. It is easily one of the tallest buildings in the city of Muar Center. So I've just walked into this hotel. How do you pronounce your name? Murar, yeah. Muarar. Alright, okay. So I've got a room. Okay. Walk-in rate at 108. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Now I'm proceeding to go to my room. Where my room is. While it is not the best hotel with the best review, the best thing about Muarar Hotel is the fact that this hotel is located very close to the bus terminal, just 2 streets away. I have already made a reservation online on my way from Malacca to Muar. And so now, I will just have to collect my room from the reception and then make my way to my room. Oh, look at how big it is. Except for the fact that there's a smoking room. Oh dear, this is a smoking room. Maybe should I ask for a change?
Moments later.
I went down to the reception and make a change to my room for a non-smoking one. Now, I like my new room a lot more better. Yep, similar room, similar configuration, but the air is so much fresher, yeah. So there isn't any smoking lingering in the air. Okay, that's the toilet. After a quick shower, I made my way for dinner. But before that, I was quite mesmerized by the Muar River earlier and wants to catch a sunset. The best place to catch the sunset in Muar City Centre has to be over at the Muar River Bridge. I quickly make my way to the Sultan Ismail Bridge. I guess I'm too late, or that's too cloudy to see sunset. The sky is fantastically blue. The bridge has already lighted up. But too bad, due to the cloudy weather, I am unable to see the sunset. That's a pity. I am now at Jalan Maharani Hawker Center. Next to the bus terminal, the car park during daytime transforms itself into a night hawker center. This outdoor place has dozens of stalls selling local fast food and a huge dining area. I have this feeling this place caters more to the local and it is not as crowded as I thought to be. Night in Muar can be very quiet at most part of Muar city center. Probably except for the hawker center, I do not see many people walking out at night along the streets. It seems to be a good and safe place to walk around enjoying the quiet environment. I suppose in this old city where life takes a slower pace and there isn't any much things to do at night here and people tend to go to bed earlier. Thus, I will go back to my hotel room earlier and try to have an early day tomorrow.
The next day.
This is the first time I have a clear view of Muar from the hotel I stay at. Hello, good morning to Muar. So this is Saturday and I'm just woke up and trying to get my breakfast around Muar. Starting from now, I altogether have slightly less than 6 wakeable hours in Muar before I'm leaving this place. I will start off with breakfast and then make use of the rest of the time doing a city tour of Muar. I will then check out, make my way to the bus station and leave this place. This has been my usual mode of operation for the last 1 week. Given I have just half a day here, I am somewhat limited by how far I can go from here. The good thing, however, is that Muar is not a big place and this is sufficient for me to cover all the sites within the city. I will as such classify my Muar tour into the following categories. Muar Giant Wall Murals. After trying the delicious food in Muar, a little walk to hunt for street art is good for burning those calories that I have loaded. The majority of wall murals in Muar concentrates around the town center, so it is easy to hunt them down. Throughout the city, there are pockets of wall murals on the old walls. One just have to be discerning when walking on the streets. And many of the wall murals in Muar are big, occupying the wall of multi-story buildings fully. The most impressive of them all and the most famous one must be the Loving Sisters. The artist behind the Loving Sister wall mural is Julia Volkova, a Russian mural artist. She had painted a wall mural measuring 11.89 meters in height and 9.75 meters in width on this wall for 10 days in Jalan Arab. It was completed on 17th July 2016. The Loving Sisters, comprising of 2 young sisters from Muar. Back then, this wall mural has been verified and recorded into Malaysia Books of Record as the biggest portrait mural in Malaysia on 18th of July 2016. Muar River. I was on the Sultan Ismail Bridge the evening before, on the bus and as well as walking on the bridge. As it was getting dark, I told myself to come to the riverbank to have a closer look the next day. Apparently, the beautiful Muar River scene is blocked by the buildings and part of it sits on private property. And so I have to find means and ways to get into the buildings and through the buildings that line the riverbank. I am not sure why I am so fixated with going to the Muar River again. Probably this wide river gives me a sense of peace within me. It is almost like going to the beach looking at the sea. In the case of the Muar River, this is the river that flows from inland from the states of Malacca and pour its content into the Straits of Malacca through Muar. The mouth of the Muar River opens up a few kilometers downstream from the city center of Muar. To be frank, the river itself is not at all very attractive, but at certain parts of the river, I can still see what's left of the fishing village, where some fishing boats are still docked sporadically along the river. I go up to the Sultan Ismail bridge again for the third time in this trip. I do not hang around the bridge for too long. It is just too hot out there, exposed to the elements of nature. I walk back into Muar city center from the Sultan Ismail bridge. For many, this is how one enters into this royal Johor city officially, from the Sultan Ismail bridge. The main thoroughfare leads into the old quarters of Muar. Walking along the 5-foot way, I can imagine how Muar was once considered a major trading city in Johor about 100 years ago. Muar Old Quarters. I would dare say back then, the number of shophouses here in Muar could rival the grandeur of the neighboring Malacca city. It is a pity that nowadays, these trading activities conducted in Muar has obviously reduced to a trickle of its heydays. The many Chinese temples in the city center witnessed the rise and fall of the Muar city. Temples in Muar are mostly Southern Chinese style architecturally and simple. The Nanhai Fei Lai Temple is a Chinese style Buddhist temple just opposite the bus terminal in Muar. The entrance to the temple is innocuously looking, as it is very plain apart from the ornate roof. This temple is dedicated to Guan Yin with a main shrine depicting her multi-armed form. The history of this temple easily dates back to 100 years ago. The rundown shops here still house many businesses handed down generations after generations. The living pace in Muar can be a very slow one. The conditions of many shophouses are largely in a state of neglect, or rather kept in a state of status quo. For tourists like me, it may be a good sight to experience the old town charm of this place. But such devoid of business activities and employment opportunities drives many youngsters to the bigger nearby metropolitan city like Kuala Lumpur and Singapore. That explains why I get to meet classmates and friends studying and working in Singapore. Glutton Street. Muar Glutton Street is a 100-meter stretch along Jalan Haji Abu. It is also synonymously referred to as Fruit Street, Jalan Haji Abu. There are dozens of food stores along Muar Glutton Street. They open for business at different times of the day and have different off days. Behind me is Glutton Street. Let's go in. Compared to the old quarters of Muar where I came from, this part of the city is more lively, and this is where a bustling of commercial activities can be found. I take a walk along Jalan Haji Abu. The street is open to cars and motorcycles as well, so do look out for traffic. As the name suggests, Glutton Street is a place where one can find many famous local food in here. A few of my pin stores are located along this street. However, I just had my mee bandung breakfast just half an hour ago, and I do not have any spare capacity for any more food. I do, however, take the opportunity to have Chinese herbal tea by the roadside. 老板，有没有24位啊？ This herbal tea do have the ability to reduce my body heatiness and cure initial symptoms of flu for me. While I do not want to advocate too much of this effect to other people in public forums, I do swear by the effectiveness in general. Thank you. My visit in Muar happens to coincide with the 9th day of the Chinese New Year taking place tomorrow. Southern Malaysia, especially in the states of Johor, where Muar is situated, has a high proportion of Hokkien-speaking people. The 9th day of the Chinese New Year is called Tian Tan. And this day is the biggest event during the entire Chinese New Year period for the Hokkien people worldwide. The marketplace along the Glutton Street is livened up with goodies to celebrate the occasion, where the Hokkien people will prepare a plentiful tribute and one pair of cane sugar to worship Tian Gong. Back in the ancient day in Chinese history, the Northern Army killed the Hokkien people on a large scale. That occurs in ancient times. Then the Hokkien people had to flee to the cane field to escape those powerful soldiers. 哇，老板娘，这样一双多少钱啊？13。哦，13哦，OK。啊，没有啦，我不是本地人。啊，游客，我怎么能拿这个？可以放在手上啊？啊？放在手上。我是坐巴士来的。This event takes place during Chinese New Year, where the Hokkien people seek refuge inside the sugarcane field. It is until the 9th day of the Chinese New Year calendar that those residents just come out of the cane field. Sugarcane in Chinese word is ganzi, and the sound read in Hokkien "gamjia" means thank you. This has a symbolic meaning of thanking the god for saving them. I am on a rush to get back to my hotel to do my checkout. However, I am attracted by a fragrant cake smell as I pass by a confectionery shop selling freshly made fish-shaped egg sponge cake. I had to stop by and get some things back home. After all, I realized that I've not bought anything substantial during my trip. As I mainly travel light, I do not usually get any souvenirs during my trip. But since it's coming to the end of my trip, I have the ability to get something to eat for my family. I must tell you something. My mom loved this cake when I brought it back. I should have buy more of this. Bye, Muar. I am almost done with Muar. Again, there are still a few things that I want to do, like going to the authentic coffee shop and going to the most famous otah shop in Muar to get the most famous otah that I missed out the night before. I realized I am cutting too close to noon and my bus is scheduled to leave at 12:30 p.m. If I were to miss this bus, the next bus to Johor Bahru is after 2:30 p.m. I have earlier planned for a dinner appointment in Singapore later this evening. So now I have to die leave Muar
Johor Bahru
and fast.
Thank you. Thank you.
I now have 30 minutes to do a checkout, make my way to the bus terminal, get a ticket, and then board the bus. I'm not sure if I can still achieve that within the tight deadline.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, worst come to worst, even if I cannot make it on time, I am prepared to take the next bus a few hours later. The good thing is that my hotel is just 2 streets away. So this is where I stay. The brownish building, the tall brownish building there. I think that's the reason why I chose this hotel. Lakin. Yes, finally I make it. So I have to say sorry to the kopitiam and the otah shop. I have to give you a miss this time around. Maybe next time perhaps.
Okay.
I am now on board on the bus towards Johor Bahru. Where is my next destination? No more. This is my homebound journey. Firstly, from Muar to Johor Bahru. And from Johor Bahru, I will take another bus to the Malaysia-Singapore custom. And then back home via Woodlands. Just 7 days ago, I started this journey in Hat Yai, some 900 kilometers away from my home, Singapore. This journey has got some key rules. One city in one night, there is no night traveling allowed, and of course, I cannot take any airplane. Over the last 7 days, I covered 7 cities. Hat Yai, Songkhla, Kanga, Ipoh, Kuala Lumpur, Malacca, and finally Muar. I am now on my journey home, and after that, head straight for my Chinese New Year dinner celebration. So, see you at my next destination. If you watch until here, do like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you, and bye.
Later.